What's up, guys? Aaron here, Simon Says Farms. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we are going to talk a little bit about prepping your goats for kidding season. So we're getting really close, and Liz talks a little bit about poop collection and fecal samples and all that stuff, so stick around. Before we talk about all that fecal sampling and collecting poo and stuff like that, we are going to set up over here because I got to clean. Sorry for all the shakiness. I'm trying to put my tripod back on the camera. We got to set up over here because it's time to clean out the pig pen. The pigs are gone. They've moved on to the butcher. And that's a whole nother video. Subscribe and follow if you want to learn about us raising pigs and ducks and chickens and all that kind of stuff. We try to raise as much food as we possibly can. But I gotta clean up this mess, so I gotta clean that up, and then I'll get back to you guys about the fecal samples and the breeding season and stuff like that. Okay, now that that's cleaned up, you're here to learn about the whole prepping for kidding season. So kidding season's coming up. We're getting really close. Some of the girls are in heat. We're not breeding the first heat cycle because that'll put babies in February. We don't want February babies. We want March babies, 150 days on a goat, but we don't want to breed them if they got a parasite load. So we put out all those fecals. The answers came back from the vet, and you're gonna watch, I know. You're gonna watch this video now, which is Liz talking about how we collect fecals, the whole process of collecting poop samples. You could watch that pretty much right now.
All right, so today we're here in the barn doing our fecal samples prior to breeding season. I try to do these about a month before I breed the girls. I kind of take a look at how everybody did over the summer, and I decide, all right, who do I want to just double check and make sure that they're all set before breeding season. It's breeding season. It's just one of the many things that's on our health checklist before we make the ultimate decision of who gets bred for breeding season 2021. So I'm with Greta here, and we're gonna get a fecal sample from her. There's one of two ways that you can collect a fecal sample from a goat. You can either wait for them to give it to you, or you can go in and get it. And after about 8 years of trial and error, I have decided that it is not worth my time to wait for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 fecal samples I'm collecting today. Take me hours, if not a day, a whole day, of watching back end of a goat to give me 6 little pellets that I need for these fecal samples. So I am going to go in and get them. I need about 6 of them for this fecal sample. I'm collecting from Greta today mainly because of her coat that she's had all spring and summer long. It's just a little shaggier. It could mean that she just is maybe a little vitamin deficient. Copper is a big one that we look for in goats. We can always give her copper bolus. If her fecal comes back clean, I would then go to a copper bolus, which we do about once or twice a year depending on needs. Her eyelids look nice and pink, so I don't suspect worms, but that's not always a great indication of a parasite load because not all worms will make the eyelids turn pale. So the only way to know for sure is a fecal sample. We do fecal samples and not just treat for worms because we don't want to treat blindly. We want to know if they need to be dewormed, that they have a high enough load that requires deworming, and also which dewormer do we use. So not all parasites are treated with the same dewormer. Don't deworm like horses where it's just on a every 6 months whether you need it or not. You only treat when the goat absolutely needs it, so you don't create parasite resistance to certain dewormers. All right, so I did put some petroleum jelly, just a light coating because you don't want it to compromise your sample, but you also want it to glide so it's not super uncomfortable for her. Put a little bit petroleum jelly on my finger. I go in, you can feel the pellets. I find one of the pellets, right? And then I push it over to the side wall closest to me and curl my finger, and then it comes out. I'm collecting 6 of them. 6 is the number that my vet said was a large enough collection for a good quality sample. So that's what I do. How many is that?
5.
Oh, one more time, Greta.
One more.
Obviously this is, not a lovely experience for me or the goat, but it does beat around standing around collecting samples, like waiting for them to poop. So each baggie has their name on it and their date, and you can collect them about 24 hours before you send them off to your vet. If that's the case, you want to make sure you can't drop them off at the vet right away. You want to make sure all the air, as much air is out of the bag as possible, and if you need to, pop them in the refrigerator so that they stay fresh. Otherwise, just get them straight to your vet after collection. So one little pro tip, if you aren't comfortable going in and getting the sample from your goat, watch your goat. If you want to collect it naturally, watch your animal. If she's laying down, go in, she'll stand up. As soon as she stands up, she'll poop. That's just kind of how the goat anatomy works. They'll lay down for a little while. As soon as they stand up, they'll poop. You'll be right there with your bag or your hands, and you'll get a nice collection. Try not to let it hit the dirt or the hay, because that will contaminate your sample. But yeah, just wait for her to stand up, and she's bound to give you the little raisinets that you're looking for.
So that's it. All fecals have been collected, both barns, including that one. And they're not even milkers. Oh my gosh, they're not even breeders over there. We just want to collect all what we think might be our problem childs at the same time and get them off to the vet. Now the results could take, I don't know, a day or two. Worst case, maybe 3, depending on shipping and stuff like that, because they ship them out to a lab and then call us back with the results. And then from there, we decide we work with our vet to figure out the treatment to see what we need to do to get rid of the worms. I'll possibly touch base with Mom one more time before we let you go. Maybe a quick recap. Okay, no recap. She's on her way to the vet. They want to get the samples up there quickly, so they're on their way to the vet. They're dropping them all off. If you want to subscribe and follow, hit the buttons below. This is the time of year where we start to figure out who we're going to breed, who we're not, and then we go into live streaming all the births. It gets exciting. Please hit that button, subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.